You will never monetize your personal brand if you ignore positioning, and let me break down exactly why. I want you to actually let that sink in. Positioning isn't a buzzword that people just throw online. It's the very foundation of how a brand is seen and will determine whether you are an industry leader or somebody who nobody actually understands. But people don't trust what they do not understand, and they can't understand a brand which hasn't been positioned clearly. So if you've been creating content, showing up online, and maybe even building a bit of traction, but the money isn't flowing, the chances are you are just ignoring positioning. And today I'm going to break down exactly why positioning determines whether you build a trusted brand, a monetizable brand, or you just stay stuck with mediocre results. Positioning is how you control the narrative of your brand. It's the difference compared to actually being recognized as a trusted authority within your niche. And there are three main pillars which we're going to go through within this video, which are brand identity, your content, and expanding your presence. So people who have truly monetized their brand and have impact and authority have these things in common. They make it easier for people to understand what to do. They communicate their value clearly, and they've aligned their online presence with the ideal consumer and their exact needs and desires. Your brand identity is the very first touchpoint your ICP has with you, and here's the rule. If people have to figure out what you do, then you have actually already lost them. Let's break it down. People should be able to view your profile on Instagram and see who you are, what you do, who you help, and how they can learn more. If a brand doesn't clearly communicate this, then your positioning is actually weak. But this is how you will fix it. Your profile picture isn't about being glamorous, it's about being clear. A picture of your face will build trust than a logo or graphic ever will. People associate themselves with other people. You don't just associate yourself with a brand if you don't understand the brand. So if you want people to be able to connect with you and your brand more effectively, then you should always have a profile picture showing your face in a clear manner. Not a supercar, not a Rolex, not a watch, not some sort of fancy object, because that doesn't show any relatability to some people that want to achieve certain things within their life. If you want people to actually connect with you, then you must also allow people to see who you are. The next part. Your bio should highlight your niche, and it should clearly state your value proposition and show people exactly what you do to avoid these vague and feel-good lines. You should make it specific. Even myself now, I've actually updated what my Instagram bio now says. So instead of it just saying what I said earlier, it says DM me CB to do the same. I build creators meaningful brands. And the reason why I position myself like that is so people understand more about who I am instead of just saying I help creators launch. But that is an example of why you should avoid vague feel-good lines and make it targeted and specific. Your link. This should be taking people directly to your main offer. So whether that's your website for your brand, whether that's a service or a lead magnet, don't send people down a rabbit hole, because you want people to go from point A to point B. You don't want to go from point A to go here, to go there, to go here. For you to make sure that the direction they go in is from this point to this point, instead of having to go from here to go to here, then to go to here, it's very simple. But you have to be able to actually use platforms that completely bypasses the effect that Instagram has, which is preventing you from visiting a link. Because when you click a link on an Instagram profile, typically it says, do you want to open this link? And if it's something you want people to sign into or watch on YouTube, using URL Genie, which is here, would be the best thing to use. Next part. Highlights are so underrated. The highlights actually help people understand you, because for my highlights I have this one first part. This literally is where you read who I am, what I do, and it's very simple. Then I've obviously got my client results here and my client results here, and then I've got perspective shifts here. So people understand that, yes, I run a brand, yes, I'm trying to achieve X, Y, and Z through Christ, but my perspective is led by a specific person, that is Jesus. And you want people to understand your own perspective, otherwise they're not going to want to work with you, be a consumer of your product or your service at all. Without actually knowing these things, your brand becomes mediocre. So you need to know who your ICP is. You need to know what your brand identity is. Because when you have a clear brand identity and a clear ICP, then you have a well-positioned brand. If you have no clear ICP and no clear brand identity, you have a mediocre brand that you can't scale as effectively as you'd be able to, because of the fact that you've avoided the steps actually needed for you to be able to build a brand that is positioned well, that impacts on a larger scale compared to a brand that's mediocre. Now let's talk about your content, because positioning doesn't actually stop your profile. It's reinforced in every single piece of content that you put out. Because most people just post content aimlessly. They use trends, they use this, they're like, okay, I use trends, I've used my content pillars, I've done this, I've done this. But then their graph that they're using, when it comes to their time over impact, it goes like this. and it doesn't really increase at all. Compared to some people who actually, their graph goes like this, and it gradually increases substantially more than this one here. And the reason why this one here is higher than this one isn't because this person has used ads or anything. It's because people have built a community around their ICP and understand how to impact them in a monumental way compared to yourself, which is why you're watching the video. So this is a system that you can use. It's very simple, and I've even got a whole document if you want to be able to do this yourself. Find industry leaders. This is very simple. Just look for 3 people in your niche who are consistently creating content that you want to achieve, that is doing well. And you are the one that determines what it means by doing well. But typically, high saves, high shares, and comments. Likes is important, but high comments, saves, and shares is more important. Build a detailed ICP. So this is not one line, it's more than a paragraph. Define your content pillars. Choose 3 to 5 areas that you consistently create around. If you're just starting out, use 3. If you're more advanced, then use 5. Then create strategic hooks. Once you've done these 4 things effectively, and you understand how to actually not just build a content calendar or system and just post 5 times a day because everyone says online, but once you've found the industry leaders, you built your detailed ICP profile and defined your content pillars, and you've crafted strategic hooks, that's when you can really be able to scale and have the impact you've been called to have. And when you combine all of these, then you won't just be another creator like this one here, holding their head in their hands like, I don't know what to do, my direction is confused. You'd be like this one, who's happy, who has joy and peace, because you're building a brand that has a crystal clear ICP, defined pillars and strong hook, because of the fact that you built a content strategy which is purposeful, rather than the one which is just randomized and generated completely by AI that has no human feeling. Because there's nothing wrong with using AI at all. Like, it's good to use because you can shortcut things and minimize the time taken certain things, but there is everything wrong with using AI and not actually using it as a supplement to yourself, rather than just using it and not actually understanding that you need to know your brand identity, you need to know who your ICP is, and you need to be able to market. If you can't do those 3 things, once you've positioned yourself, it doesn't even matter. So the final pillar is really about expanding your presence. So this is simple. Don't rely on one platform. I use YouTube, which you can see here. So obviously I use my Instagram people to get to know who I am, and I follow them over to here, which is where I use my YouTube. So my YouTube is literally longer form content, 5 to 20-minute long videos for people to understand how to do what I'm doing for other people. And I put it out for free because I want everyone to understand that what I'm doing is something that is for free. But if you want to implement it, then you can obviously book a call within a Candy link or comment CB and I'll get in contact with you. Because I want everyone to understand that everyone has a gift, everyone is called to serve, and it's only when you truly serve others that you begin to build a meaningful and impactful life and an impactful and meaningful brand also. And the key is that every single platform has a role. My Instagram captures attention and my YouTube deepens trust, and then afterwards, if you wanted to add another thing, you can have like an email newsletter which converts people that are just warm leads into like very hot leads. So leads that are actually like, okay, I have this budget, okay, and I want you to help me scale to this amount. Because when you position yourself in a correct way, people have no worries of paying you X amounts of money, 5k, 10k, 20k, 30k plus, because they understand that what you are showing online is possible and what you're doing is an impactful thing, whether it's a service or a product. People are willing to pay $100 for a jumper or a t-shirt even sometimes if the meaning behind the brand is. But if you don't position yourself correctly, then it's not possible, because there's lots of people in the industry that are all doing the same things. But if you want to be the person who is the red dot within the green dots that actually is different from everyone else and that actually has an impact, then what you need to be able to do is position yourself effectively through using the 3 steps I've already said, which I'll go back to just as a quick reminder. So you need to understand your brand identity clearly and your ICP. You need to understand how to create content that resonates with your ICP. You need to expand on your presence through using other means, other social media platforms. So whether that's using the offline newsletter, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever you're using, then do it. And then that's how you actually be able to leverage cross-platform positioning to create a pathway that moves people from just discovery and depth and being one of the random people who aren't sure about you to being someone who's right here that's like, okay, I'm ready to work with you. But yeah, if you feel like this is very helpful and you want to be able to build your own brand, personal brand, that helps people pay you 4-figure or 5-figure investments or whatever, then you need to be able to actually take the initiative and take the information that I've given you in this video and implement it and act upon it. It's good to say, okay, I've heard you, but it's better for you to actually implement it and use the information that is within this video. So if you want us to book a call or whatever, then just comment the letter CB or you use the Calendly link within the description and we'll book a call and we can see if we can help you build a personal brand that is not just monetizable, but that's impactful. Because making money, yeah, is good, but the impact is greater and more important that you can make if you position yourself in an effective way. As always, God bless and peace.